Quarterfinals, it's going to be Nouns Esports from EU versus Luminosity from NA, and we can already see some of the Nouns fans in the crew with their glasses, along with some Luminosity tags there as well. So definitely a mixture in terms of fans in the crowd, but also back home. But yes, you were mentioning, is it too soon? Because I guess in terms of the history with these teams, for those folks that aren't familiar, Nouns Esports went back against Luminosity back in 2022 in the grand finals, and that was where Luminosity ended up coming out on top. And well, I was actually chatting to Gatlu a bit before this. They haven't actually had a chance to go into Luminosity ever since then. So, as I said, it's just a match that a lot of folks have been waiting for, but we are going to go throw it to an interview with our host, Soph-Chan, and see what they have to say.
All right, so we have Zara here with me, a Nouns supporter, as you can see. So, how are you feeling for this next match against Luminosity nonetheless?
I'm really excited. I've been waiting for this rematch to happen for years and years after I watched Nouns and LG play against each other in the first year, in the first final.
I know, that was so hype, and I remember everybody just wanting for this matchup to happen again, and it is happening here in Anaheim, California for Pokemon Worlds 2025. So, in this game, what are you thinking? 2-0 Nouns, is that your feeling?
I'm feeling the 2-0, it's coming.
The sweep is coming, okay. And is it coming with the Raichu?
Hopefully with a Raichu, but we'll accept it without a Raichu as well.
So if it's not a Raichu, what's like your favorite player with a pick on Nouns?
Oh, I love seeing Adesu Zacian a lot. I think he really popped off with it on the B stage, and I would really like to see it again. But whatever they're comfortable with, they know best. I really trust Nouns, so they can definitely do it.
That's amazing, just getting a little bit more information on the B stage as well. So I'm counting on you on that, Zation, okay? Right, thank you so much, Zara, and back to our casters.
Thank you so much, Soph-Chan and Raichu. We'll have to see whether Raichu's wish comes true and Nouns are able to take down LG 2-0. But we are already going into our pick ban phase. The 4 bans for this match are going to be Ho-Oh and Snorlax, 2 defenders knocked out by Nouns Esports, and Luminosity have taken away that Zacian and that Galarian Rapidash.
So maybe a bit of a different plan here for both of these teams. You know, you can't really go for the usual stuff because Nouns and Luminosity, I do feel like they're very familiar with each other, and especially in such a high stakes game. Maybe today's the day where you kind of have to bring out a little bit of that craziness, that funky, different kind of strat to kind of give you that
crazy.
edge.
I mean, it is
We're
World
at
Championship,
Worlds.
so maybe you could.
Best time to go crazy is at Worlds, but we'll have to see if that does end up being the case though. But so far, pretty solid Pokemon across the board here, nothing too crazy. I mean, Charizard, very strong pick. Mewtwo has been a popular choice for attacker for a lot of teams. I'm glad to see the Crustle. We have seen some of this on the main stage yesterday, and it has done really well. But it's Crustle and Umbreon.
Yeah, so I guess they're going for a little bit more bulky, and to round off Nouns Esports composition, Gatlu is going to be running that Dodrio. So part of their strats there is just to let Gatlu do what Gatlu does best and do his thing, which we actually saw yesterday. But last pick for Luminosity. What are they going to round it out with? Ooh, a Zoroark. What do you think about this speedster here, Dadalee?
So I think everyone is very familiar with the Zoro on the side of Luminosity. So this is a Pokemon that they love to run, and I think Nouns, to a certain degree, I kind of feel like they drafted a lineup in anticipation for a Zoro potential last pick. So even though this is a signature Pokemon appearing here on the side of Luminosity, Nouns clearly has a plan to deal with this, because I think it would be ridiculous to say they didn't anticipate it. Well, because it's left in the pool.
Yeah, well, you look at their composition, they have an Umbreon to shut down that Zoroark, even a Rock down Crustle, but we are actually going to throw it to another interview here with Luminosity before we do get into this first match of the quarterfinals.
Okay, we have Nouns just now, we have Luminosity, we have Sneaky Seal here with me, and Luminosity is definitely a fan favorite as well. So what are your thoughts for this match in particular? Like we mentioned, we had that matchup in the first season for Grand Finals of Worlds. What are you feeling?
It's been 3 years since LG dominated Nouns in the finals, and they're going to do it again, baby. Let's go, Billy. Let's go, everyone else on LG, all right?
Quick prediction, what's the scoreline?
I want to say 3-0, but I love my guys over there, Toon, Ender, but 3-0.
Okay, let's go. Thank you so much, Seal. And back to the casters.
All right, Kels, we are jumping into game number 1 here for the quarterfinals of this best of 3 series. And unfortunately, only Nouns or Luminosity will be making it through. The other one will be going home. Lanes are set, and at the moment, nothing has gone sideways. Everything is going according to plan. Nothing crazy, no central area invades, but that might change for game number 2 and 3 once things do start to settle. Toon, unfortunately, is kind of holding the fort on his own as that Charmander, so, you know, not really able to really do anything, but the stacks are going to work in favor for Inder here because he hasn't really been pressured by Luminosity as of yet, although he might be knocked out if he's not too lucky. He's going to go for the berry steals, so going to continue with those stacks. Kels, I think we've got to talk about Inder. Inder has been such a pivotal member ever since he's joined Nouns. He is a fantastic player. Somehow can always get experience and somehow steals objectives.
Well, to bring up Inder has joined Nouns this year, and they are the player that has defeated Luminosity previously. So is this going to be their secret tech coming up into this set? But so far, those birds end up getting soaked on up. Looking at the levels, it's still very early days, but looking very even. It is 7 to 10 points, just getting in those early stacks where you can. But here comes Gatlu over the wall to go and knock down Latios. So that is massive in shutting down their potential. But look at this. This UCS 2025 season, Nouns holds 108 wins at a 72% win rate, whereas Luminosity leads with the 82.
Oh.
I don't know what that was. 80-something.
So Luminosity, they currently hold a slightly higher win rate, but I kind of feel like you got to reset things here, right? It's a brand new series, it's a brand new day, and it's Worlds 2025 as well. We do have the Altaria and Sparkleys in that central area, but most of them do get swiped up here. And, oh, hang on a minute, we do see a bit of a skirmish here. Both of our speedsters going for a little bit of a dance, but no knockouts as of yet. And these lanes still looking rather stable aside from those couple pickoffs here and there, although hang on, we still have that battle, and oh, the Zoro does go down, does not take the Dodrio down, so Gatlu is going to be the last one to be laughing there.
Yeah, they're going to go and retreat back to home base, recalibrate, fill up that HP pool, as we do have another set of Swablues and Altaria spawning in shortly. Otherwise, no real pushes towards a singular lane just as of yet, but Nouns Esports, they're right on top of those birds, and Bruv is going to go and deny Kyrios any experience at all by getting that knockout.
Yeah, beautiful rock tomb set up there by Bruv. If that didn't connect, they wouldn't have been able to grab that knockout. So this is the beauty of Crustal. We very rarely see this Pokemon in a lot of regions, but when it does appear, I think just the shock value, knowing that a Crustal is in your game, it really can catch you off guard with the range of that rock tomb, especially if it does land that connection. Up top there, it looks like the Regieleki has been secured by Luminosity, so they will be pushing alongside that, whereas down bottom, we have our Charizard picking up that defense buff and experience buff there for Nouns. So if a fight does break up, we do have a little bit of extra defense working in Nouns' favor.
Well, you can see Nouns just making sure to cover all bases. Going up the top side, unfortunately, they didn't end up losing that Regieleki, but 2 members are going and dealing with that. Bruv isn't needed. Instead, they're going to try and contest these birds with Toon, who has locked in that level 9, does have that Unite move on hand. Over on the other side, we do have that Zoroark that has that yellow dot above their head, so they also have their Unite move come this next fight.
But it looks like no one really wants to engage in a fight yet. It seems to be a case of just trying to get as much experience as possible, and if you can, try and accumulate that level lead, because we've seen in games sometimes just having that extra 1 or 2 levels is enough to help you win some of those fights. And it looks like we're going to be seeing a fight here over some of those birds, and it looks like we do get the pullback there by Inder, but Nouns, it looks like they weren't quite ready for this battle, even forcing out the Unite. Luminosity, I think it was a good thing they had that restraint there. They could have tried to go for the dive, but the Moonline Prance could have caused them quite a few issues. But because there's no more Prance, they're thinking of diving. But Kels, this looks very, very dangerous, especially with the Mewtwo Unite.
Well, there goes a dive with the Seismic Slam to go and knock out that Blaziken. Next to fall is that Zoroark. Bruv, at such low HP, is able to go and finish the job on the Latios. And now we do have Nouns that have the numbers advantage, being able to knock out multiple members and overtake this top tier 1 pad.
I have to say that was such an aggressive play coming out from Luminosity, and especially to dive onto Nouns' goal zone of all things. Sure, there was no more Moonlight Prance, but you're still fighting on the enemy goal zone, and with Unites available and the fact that Luminosity were so grouped up, I'm not sure if they maybe forgot that Edesu had access to his Unite, so that little mini stun was just enough for Nouns to set themselves up to end up winning that team fight overall. So big victory there, though even though they did win that battle, they didn't accumulate much of a level lead yet. They have a level 12 there on Gatlu, so maybe this Dodrio is going to start snowballing for the team. We'll have to see, but Regieleki will be secured here by Luminosity. They're going to try and push with this so they can break that tier 1 goal zone. It's going to be tough though, especially with Bravo on that Crustal.
Crustal has popped out their Rubble Rouser to just go ruffle the feathers of Overlord, trying to knock them out. However, they are unsuccessful. Regieleki is still healthy, as we do have some backup coming in from Nouns, but Brav ends up collapsing, and Regieleki ends up crashing on in. And now this is Luminosity's chance to get in some points of their own, because we're looking at the scoreboard so far. They are falling quite behind at 256 to 86, but there we go. They've at least bridged that gap even closer, and because of those KOs, we now have that Zoroark at a level 12.
Yeah, so that slight lead that Nouns had, they have given that back to Luminosity, and things are now tied back up to even once again. That top fight, they were so close to being able to defend that. Gatlu just really missing out on a tiny bit more damage, and just because they had one fewer Pokemon, the freeze on the Charizard locks them in, and that's going to set up for 1 KO. Moonlight Prance gets committed here by Inda, but is it going to be enough though? The goal zone is still standing. They do get the Zoro in the process, but it's just going to be 2 Pokemon left for Nouns. It's the Mewtwo, White, and Gatlu. Oh boy, Luminosity, this aggression, it might not have worked earlier on, but their persistence is really starting to pay off now.
I think that's the thing. They do have that Latios on their side. So early game, they need to focus on getting that Eon energy by just passively being in the back line to get those hits, secure those wild Pokemon. But now that they are online, they're able to go in and rely on that damage to hopefully chip away at Nouns Esports. Nouns Esports, though, they are going to play it safe. They did make an attempt at trying to steal away some of the experience, but so close to this Rayquaza, about to spawn in 30 seconds, they want to focus on all the experience that's on their side instead.
Yeah, you really want to try and get those plus moves as early as possible, especially on your core set of Pokemon as well. But we do have 5 seconds left on that bottom Reggie. I would be keen to see if Nouns wants to try and go for a quick rip onto this. They are there, they are grouped up, but it looks like they're just kind of looking at it. They don't want to be falling into a potential trap of trying to take that Reggie steal. The buff would have been nice, but positioning going into that Rayquaza, far more important, Kello. And now it's going to be the last 2 minutes. The final stretch has finally arrived. And, well, the game is incredibly close. Luminosity are the ones behind right now. They are behind just by a few points. So either they go for those micro scores, or they're going to have to go for that Rayquaza. And because they have that Blaziken, Rayquaza is looking incredibly tempting right now.
Well, that's the thing. We've got the notification that it is a close battle between these two teams. It's just a matter of who's going to make the engage. Gatlu trying to poke out at Overlord with their triple trample, able to get the knockout. And yes, the hit. And now we have Charizard also diving in, trying to breathe fire and rage havoc on Luminosity. However, because of that Bliss assistance, Latios is managing to survive this fight for a little long. But now, Luminosity, they're 3 members down. Only 1 member of Nouns Esports is down. This is their chance to go in for the rip, unless the threat Slash here on the Suicune can bring and maybe get a steal. Otter, here comes with the egg. Did they get the secure? Was it the egg secure from Otter? Oh my goodness, Otter has done it. That is insane.
And with the shield as well, and with only 2 Pokemon that can even defend these goal zones, Nouns are in such a desperate situation now, because they are behind by a little under 200 points, 300 points now. And with no Pokemon on the field, they're going to have to think, what do we need to do in game number 2? Because I think this match, unsalvageable. You've got to think what changes in the draft, what Pokemon need to be banned. Do they have to get rid of that Zoro in game number 2? Because I don't think Zoro itself was an issue. There were multiple other facets, I feel, to Luminosity's draft that really caused Nouns problems. But obviously the biggest one, letting a Blissey steal a Rayquaza. That's a crime.
Oh, but there we go. The fans go wild for Luminosity, who have just taken that first game win. One step closer towards getting that spot, that final spot in the semi-finals, and to go up against Peru Unite. But it isn't over just yet for Nouns Esports. It is a best of 3, but so many questions that you just asked there. I mean, I guess all of these will soon be answered. Well, how do they actually go back and recalibrate? Like, honestly, if I think about Nouns' play style there,
They played pretty well.
I think they played incredibly well that match, but you mentioned the Zoroark. I think this Latios, Kyrios, they managed to shut it down earlier on, but just later on, Kyrios just wreaked havoc once they gained that Eon energy and was able to chip out a lot of damage from Nouns Esports during those fights.
Yeah, I mean, Latios could be the Pokemon they decide to ban instead, but the thing is, if you're banning Latios, what are you going to let through instead? Are you going to be letting through, assuming they're going to continue with the current bans, are they going to let the Ho-Oh through, or are they going to let the Snorlax through?
Oh, look, when it comes down to these two teams, after all, they are two of the longest withstanding teams that we have had in the Unite Championship Series. So they have a lot of experience, not just playing year to year, but also playing on the world stage, playing at international events and everything. So really, I'd say in terms of their Pokemon pool, it would be quite large, and I feel like both teams would be able to make those adaptabilities where necessary.
Yeah. I'm thinking, just a thought here, Kello, on the side of Nouns, I kind of feel like you can't give Suicune away to Luminosity. I do feel that Suicune probably played too much of a role in Luminosity being able to